वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। आ जाइए बेटा, फटाफट सारे बच्चे जल्दी जल्दी ज्वाइन हो जाइए। आज हम नया चैप्टर देखने वाले हैं। राइट, फटाफट जल्दी जल्दी। गाइस, आज कौन सा चैप्टर देखेंगे? आज हम देखेंगे सर इकोनॉमिक challenges. What are the economic challenges which is faced by Indian economy? Alright, which is faced by Indian economy. What are the current economic challenges that are faced by our Indian economy? Right, फटाफट फटाफट सारे फटाफट ज्वाइन हो जाओ। आज की डेट क्या है? 21 दिसंबर। ठीक है सर, अगर आपको काउंट करना है, वी हार्डली हैव 2 months इन आवर हैंड्स। राइट, गाइस कितना टाइम है? 2 महीने हैं सिर्फ हमारे पास अभी। राइट, 2 महीने ही बचे हैं एंड इन 2 महीनों में सर पूरा रिवीजन हो जाना चाहिए हमारा, है कि नहीं? पूरा रिवीजन हो जाना चाहिए। आई होप आप लोग साथ ही साथ क्लासेस के साथ साथ सेल्फ स्टडीज कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज विदाउट सेल्फ स्टडीज इट इज not possible. Right, self studies are really very important. चलिए, let's start. A very good morning everyone, a very good morning. My name is Saurabh Jaiswal. I'll be your educator for economics. Welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack your 12 CBSE. Now, a very brief introduction about me. I'm a faculty of economics and account. I've been teaching at 11th, 12th and as well as in CA Foundation. And over the years of teaching, one thing has remained constant, and I believe it will always remain constant. That is what? That is conceptual learning. Right? That is what? That is conceptual learning. Guys, I believe few things shall change, but few things, a core, okay, our core should always be constant. There should be few things which we believe, okay, and we should always stick to them. Right? For us, for me, it is logics. सिंपल भाषा में क्या? लॉजिक्स का पीछा नहीं छोड़ना है। राइट, बाकी सारी चीजें आते जाते रहेगी, बट हमें लॉजिक्स का पीछा नहीं छोड़ना है। राइट, now if you are new to an academy and if you're wondering what is an academy, ठीक है, अगर आपको बच्चा पता नहीं है अनअकैडमी क्या है, अनअकैडमी क्या है? एक ऑनलाइन लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म है। ठीक है, it is an online learning platform. Here you will get to learn all your subjects. Alright, you will get to learn all your subjects right under one roof. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to go anywhere else. तो सारी चीजें एक ही प्लेस पे आप अवेलेबल है। Alright? Everything is available right here. All your subjects right under one roof at your ease. Okay. You can take advantage of our resources like YouTube. Okay. YouTube or even our special classes. These are totally free. ठीक है, these are free resources. But I would recommend, ठीक है, I would recommend getting a subscription. Alright, I would recommend getting a subscription because these are free, ठीक है, but these are also limited resources. Okay, these are also limited resources. ठीक है, you can consider them as your demo classes. Alright. Now, if you take a subscription, you get various benefits. There are two types of subscriptions basically, Plus and Iconic. Alright. अब ये सब्सक्रिप्शन जो वर्ड है बहुत ज़्यादा फैंसी लग रहा है, तो इसे क्या कहें, ट्यूशन फी. ऑलराइट, इसे क्या कहेंगे हम इसे कहेंगे ट्यूशन फी. हाँ, सब्सक्रिप्शंस के बेनिफिट्स. सबसे पहले, गेट लाइव क्लासेस, दैट टू डेली. ठीक है, डेली लाइव क्लासेस. कहाँ पे? अनअकैडमी के प्लेटफॉर्म पे. नाउ, वन ऑफ द बेनिफिट of attending live classes on the platform is the interaction with us. ठीक है, interaction with educators is very real time. Is in real time. ठीक है, आपने आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा, से तुरंत स्क्रीन पे आ जाता है. मैंने कुछ बोला, तुरंत आपको वो दिख जाता. देयर इज नो लैग. देयर इज नो लैग. कोई लैग नहीं है. The technology, the communication channels which are used are high end. ठीक है, YouTube में भी ठीक है, कभी कभी ऐसा होता है that so the lag is too much. At least 5 seconds का lag रहता है, and 5 seconds are too much. Right? Then you can attend live polls and quizzes. Now, जो हमने कॉन्सेप्ट्स पढ़े हैं उन्हें टेस्ट भी तो करना पड़ेगा, कहीं कहीं तो टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. Right? कहाँ टेस्ट करेंगे, कैसे टेस्ट करेंगे? थ्रू क्विजेस. हम कैसे लेते हैं सर? एमसीक्यू पैटर्न पे. बिकॉज MCQ pattern is the best way to test your conceptual clarity. Right? It is the best way to test your conceptual clarity. Right? Then साथ ही साथ what you can attend test series. Okay? You can attend test series and do your analysis. ठीक है, आप क्या टेस्ट सीरीज भी अटेंड कर सकते हैं, जो अभी बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है फॉर द टाइम. ठीक है, बिकॉज वी हैव हार्डली 2 months इन हैंड्स. ठीक है, हार्डली 2 महीने हैं. इन 2 महीनों में हमें पूरी तरीके से प्रिपेयर होना है. पूरी तरीके से प्रिपेयर होना है. सो टेस्ट सीरीज आर अ मस्ट. टेस्ट सीरीज आर अ मस्ट. ठीक है, I'll give it n number of stars. ठीक है, टेस्ट सीरीज आर अ मस्ट. देन साथ ही साथ what you can do your analysis. How well you have performed in each and every subject. कितनी गलतियां हुई, कितना सही हुआ. Did you finish in Did you finish in the given time? ठीक है, सर एज कंपेयर टू अदर्स आपने कितना अच्छा परफॉर्म किया. ये सारा एनालिसिस आपको कहाँ आपको मिलता है प्लस में. ठीक है, ये देखिए, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर गिविंग यू अ कॉम्पिटिटिव एज. ठीक है, अ सब्सक्रिप्शन इज गिविंग टू गिव यू अ एज इन योर एग्जाम्स. देन डाउट सेशंस. आप क्या अटेंड कर सकते हैं? डाउट सेशंस अटेंड कर सकते हैं. ये सारे कुछ बेनिफिट्स है प्लस के, और भी है. लाइक यू गेट अनलिमिटेड व्यूज. You get unlimited access to all your subjects and all your educators. राइट? ऐसा नहीं कि आप सिर्फ इकोनॉमिक्स एंड अकाउंट्स एक ही एजुकेटर से पढ़ सकते हो, आप सारे एजुकेटर्स के वीडियो देख सकते हो। ठीक है, एंड जो नोट्स रहते हैं, ठीक है, हमारे क्लास नोट्स जो रहते हैं उन्हें भी आप डाउनलोड करके रख सकते हो। ये सारे थे सर, ये सारे बेनिफिट्स थे प्लस के आइकॉनिक। अब अब आइकॉनिक जो है, जस्ट अ सेकेंड, तो ये प्रॉब्लम देता ही है, प्रॉब्लम देता ही है। इसकी पता नहीं, इसकी सेटिंग्स हर बार बिगड़ जाती है, ये इसकी सेटिंग्स हर बार बिगड़ जाती है। Okay, now it is not this problem। हाँ जी, अब सही है। सो सो आइकॉनिक आइकॉनिक वन टू वन, ठीक है, आइकॉनिक क्या है, वन टू वन है। सो मतलब क्या हुआ सर, आइकॉनिक वन टू वन इंटरेक्शन पे बेस्ड रहता है। सारी चीजें सर काफी पर्सनल लेवल पे होती है। ठीक है, वी आर योर पर्सनल कोचेस। ठीक है, वी विल बी योर पर्सनल कोच। आपको इंडिविजुअल अटेंशन, ठीक है, मेंटरिंग आपकी, राइट, ये सारी चीजें कहाँ, फिर आपकी मेंटरिंग, आपके डाउट सेशन भी कैसे रहेंगे, एक्सक्लूसिव रहेंगे। ठीक है, ये सारी चीजें आपको आइकॉनिक में देखने मिलती है। ठीक है, पर्सनल मेंटरिंग, पर्सनल कोच, एक्सक्लूसिव डाउट सेशंस, पैरेंटल कनेक्ट, ये सारा, एंड ऑब्वियसली सारे प्लस के बेनिफिट्स, ऑब्वियसली क्या, सारे प्लस के बेनिफिट्स साथ ही साथ, ये सब कहाँ, ये सब आइकॉनिक, ये सब कहाँ, सब आइकॉनिक में। आपने सिंपली क्या करना है, ठीक है, आपने सिंपली गाइस, आपने ऐप इंस्टॉल करना है। डाउनलोड करें ऐप स्टोर से या प्ले स्टोर से, विच एवर, एंड्रॉइड या एप्पल जो भी है, तो दोनों पे अवेलेबल है। आपने सर्च करना है अनअकैडमी लर्निंग ऐप। ऑलराइट, आपने क्या सर्च करना है, आपने सर्च करना है अनअकैडमी लर्निंग ऐप। ठीक है, डाउनलोड कर ले, देन साइन अप करें। ठीक है, चूज योर गोल। हमारा गोल क्या है, हमारा गोल है सीबीएसई 12। हमारा गोल क्या रहेगा, सीबीएसई 12। सेट योर गोल एज 12 सीबीएसई। ठीक है, देन choose an appropriate subscription। ठीक है, now for those who are in 11th, ठीक है, they have a variety, ठीक है, they have a variety of options, so from 1 month to 24 months। ठीक है, now ये 11th प्लस 12th है। ठीक है, ध्यान रखने की बात, 11th प्लस 12th है। तो I would suggest for those people who are in 11th, I would suggest go for a longer term plan। ठीक है, because it will cover your 12th also। ठीक है, it will cover your 12th also। तो have a longer term plan। ठीक है, 11 12 दोनों कवर हो जाएगा। ठीक है, ये कोड फ्लैश हो रहा है यहाँ, ये कोड को आपने सिंपली यहाँ पे लगा देना है, एंड देन क्लिक ऑन प्रोसीड। क्लिक ऑन प्रोसीड। ये थे प्लस, ठीक है, ये सारे हैं प्लस के। आइकॉनिक में भी, now I would highly recommend if you are in 11th, ठीक है, I would highly recommend going for a iconic subscription। ठीक है, going for iconic subscription because it will build it will build your base इनिशियली, एकदम इनिशियल स्टेजेस से आपका बेस बिल्ड होगा। and you will be very much focused. ठीक है सर, इट विल कीप यू फोकस। यहाँ पे भी सर ये कोड लगा दीजिएगा। ठीक है, क्यों क्यों सर? 10% ऑफ डिस्काउंट मिलता है, डिस्काउंट मिल जाता है हमें 10% का, इसीलिए बोल रहा हूँ। कोड लगा दीजिएगा, यू विल गेट 10% ऑफ। आप लोगों को 10% ऑफ हो जाएगा ऑन ईच एंड एवरी सब्सक्रिप्शन। सिमिलरली प्लस में भी सर, इफ यू चूज, सपोज इफ यू चूज 15 मंथ्स और एक 18 का, ठीक है, फॉर 15 मंथ्स, ओके, फॉर 15 मंथ्स इफ यू चूज without the code, it is 18, and if you apply the code it boils down to 16,200. Why not, right? Why not? Then हम हैं इधर, ठीक है, हम हैं 12th में, राइट? हाँ, 12th में, 12th में there are four variants plus में, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months and 12 months. Now I would recommend, ठीक है, and if I was a student I would have taken the same, ठीक है, because the benefits are way more than the cost. ठीक है, the cost benefit analysis, the benefits outweighs the cost, ठीक है. So I would recommend going for a 1 month subscription or a 3 month subscription, ठीक है, not for 6 and 12. एक करंट सिनेरियो के हिसाब से आई एम टॉकिंग, बिकॉज हमारी एग्जाम्स कब होने वाली है? probably in March, probably in March. अगर एक हाथ महीना एक्सटेंड होता है तो this 3 months will cover it, ठीक है, 3 months will cover it. अभी 22nd, ठीक है, 22nd दिसंबर, कल हमें क्या पता चल जाएगा सर क्या हाल रहने वाले हैं, ठीक है, कल पता चल जाएगा क्या हाल रहने वाले हैं, कल एग्जाम्स होगी, होपफुली कल अनाउंसमेंट हो जाए, ठीक है. So I would suggest going for a 1 month subscription which is worth 3,000 or a 3 months which is 6.5, ठीक है, and if you apply this code you'll get a 10% discount as well. 1 month आपको 27 में and 3 months 5850. I would suggest to go for 1 and 3 plus, either 1 month or 3 months. ये वाले out of the scene है, ठीक है guys. Now बस आइकॉनिक है आखिर में, अभी क्या आइकॉनिक है? अब आइकॉनिक में देखिए, आइकॉनिक में ऐसा है, these are long term, these are long term plans. I wouldn't suggest right now, I wouldn't suggest right now taking an iconic because we are in a last stage of our study. अभी सब लोगों के रिविजन्स शुरू होंगे, ठीक है, साथ ही साथ लोग क्या दे रहे हैं, टेस्ट सीरीज दे रहे हैं, ठीक है. ये सारी चीजें इसका एज कहाँ मिल जाएगा? प्लस में. आइकॉनिक इज मोर 1-to-1. Yeah, if you need you can, but I would suggest go for a plus, ठीक है, 1 or 3 months वाला. नीचे एक टेलीग्राम की लिंक भी है, फटाक से उसे क्या करो, फटाक से क्लिक कर लेना. फिर ये लिंक है, ये लिंक को फटाक से क्लिक करें. ये टेलीग्राम की चैनल की लिंक है, ठीक है. चैनल में आपको क्या मिलेंगे? डेली अपडेट्स. चैनल में क्या मिल रहा है आपको? डेली अपडेट्स. टेलीग्राम के चैनल में ज्वाइन होने के लिए ये लिंक नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन में दी गई है, फटाक से जाके ज्वाइन हो जाओ, ठीक है, सो दैट यू गेट ऑल योर अपडेट्स, जो भी क्लासेस हो रही है, ठीक है. क्लासेस कब हो रही है, कितने टाइम, क्या टाइमिंग है, किसकी हो रही है, कौन सा टॉपिक है, एवरीथिंग यू गेट ऑन द चैनल. बढ़िया, एकदम बढ़िया सर, एकदम बढ़िया. ठीक है, चलिए. हाँ सर, अभी अभी जो पढ़ने की जरूरत है हमें, ठीक है, व्हाट आर द करंट चैलेंजेस दैट आर इंडियन इकोनॉमी फेसेस. सर, उसमें भी हम देख रहे हैं पोवर्टी. अभी हम क्या देख रहे हैं? पोवर्टी. करेक्ट. तो देर आर मेनी challenges and there are many socio-economic problems जो अभी भी प्रिवेलिंग है. उसमें से सबसे बड़ा है गरीबी. पोवर्टी मतलब क्या? गरीबी. आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आप लोग एक बार ट्राई टू रिलेट इट टू व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन. ठीक है. देखिए, पढ़ाई तो हम कर ही रहे हैं, नो डाउट. पढ़ाई तो हम कर ही रहे हैं, बट अगर आप क्या करें, अगर आप साथ ही साथ में से रिलेट करें, रिलेट करें रियल वर्ल्ड, दैट वुड बी मच मच more intuitive. It would be more intuitive. Right? Connection बराबर है. नोटिफिकेशन क्यों दे रहा था? कनेक्शन लॉस्ट. ठीक है. बस. हाँ. So let's start, guys. Try to relate it to the current world, right? It will be much more intuitive. In the previous chapter, we have studied the economic policies that India has taken in the last 7 decades and the outcome of these policies with relation to various development indicators. Right? हमने इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज पूरी टाइमलाइन में देखी है. ठीक है. तो व्हाट वर द इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस. ठीक है. व्हाट वर द इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज फ्रॉम 1950 to 1990 एंड व्हाट आर द इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज. ठीक है. फिर हमें एक काफी अच्छा आइडिया है, ठीक है, काफी अच्छा आइडिया है that what were the different economic policies adopted by the government and how do they bring about major changes. ठीक है. whenever there is a downfall of 1991 में, so we went through huge economic reforms, right? Because we were facing what? We were facing crisis. We were facing economic crisis. So there was a need. There was a need for economic reforms, and it was suggested by World Bank and IMF that India needs to change its economic policy to fight crisis, right? And it was also one of the conditions that World Bank and IMF had laid down, because only then we were eligible to get the loan of $7 billion. Okay? Providing basic needs to the people and reduction of poverty has been the major aim of independent India. ठीक है? Providing basic needs and reduction of poverty. So this has been the goal of independent India, that is after independence. ठीक है? This has been the basic goal. हमेशा से यही कोशिश रही है because during the colonial period, okay, during the colonial period, we were drained. ठीक है? India was drained from its wealth. सारी industries, सारे agriculture sectors, everything were destroyed. ठीक है? फिर अभी जब इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स आए, जो भी पॉलिसीज बनी थी, सर इंडिया को एकदम स्टैग्नेशन से उठाना पड़ा हमें, ठीक है, हमारे लीडर्स को। तो हमेशा से पर हमारे लीडर्स की एक ही कोशिश रही है दैट एवरीवन इज प्रोवाइडेड विद बेसिक नीड एंड द गरीबी कम हो, गरीबी कम। The pattern of development that the successive five-year plan envisaged laid emphasis on the upliftment of the poorest of the poor, okay, integrating the poor into the mainstream and achieving a minimum standard of living for all. Every 5-year plan, okay, every 5-year plan laid down emphasis, okay, on the upliftment of the poor, okay, the poor, okay, the poorest of the poor, and each and every government in their 5-year plan has tried, okay, to integrate, to mix them, okay, to mix them in the mainstream. Mainstream matlab kya sir? In the various sectors so that they can achieve at least a minimum standard of living. While addressing the Constituent Assembly in 1947, Nehru said, this achievement, that means the independence, is but a step. It is a step, an opening of opportunity to the great triumphs and achievement that awaits us. The ending of poverty and ignorance and disease and inequality of opportunity. The independence was not, according to me, it was not an achievement. It was a stepping stone. It was an achievement, but it was not like कि आप independent हो गए and आपको सब मिल गया. No, ऐसा नहीं था. It was a stepping stone towards greater things. However, we need to know where we stand today. Poverty is not only a challenge for India, as more than one-fifth of the world's poor live in India. क्या 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 क्या? More than one-fifth of world's poor live in India. Okay? But also for the world where about 300 million people are not able to meet their basic. फिर पूरी पूरी दुनिया में, ये पूरी दुनिया में जितने जितने लोग बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन है, ओके, who are not able to have a proper standard of living, उसमें से उसमें से कितना guys is huge. वन फिफ्थ कहाँ रहते हैं इंडिया में? वन फिफ्थ lives in India. Poverty have many phases which have been changing from place to place and across time and has been described in many ways. So poverty just it just does not mean that so paise kam. No, there are many things which contributes to poverty. Most often, poverty is a situation that people want to escape. So poverty is called to action for poor and the wealthy alike. A call to change the world so that many more may have enough to eat, adequate shelter, access to education and health, protection from violence, and a voice in what happens in their community. Okay? And a voice in what happens in their communities. that it has poverty has grown. Now it is not just lack of money. It is more lack of health and education, proper protection, proper proper voice. ये सारी चीजें now contributes to poverty. To know what helps to reduce poverty, what works and what does not, what changes over time, poverty has to be defined, measured and studied, and sometimes even experienced. Correct? As poverty has many dimensions, it has to be looked at through a variety of indicators. ठीक है? Levels of income and consumption, social indicators, and indicators of vulnerability to risk of socio-political access. ठीक है? There are many ways जिससे हमें क्या देखना है, सिर्फ बहुत तरीकों से poverty को study करना है. सिर्फ एक ही, सिर्फ not just income levels, but the social indicators. ठीक है? The indicators for vulnerability to risk and social political causes. Right? These are the various angles that we need to focus on. So that brings us to a question. So who are the poor? See, that brings us to the question. Who are the poor? Just a second, guys. Okay, हो रहा है. Just a second, man. Just a second. Everything is right. हाँ जी. So now the question that rises at who are the poor? You would have noticed that in all localities and neighborhoods, both in rural and urban areas, there are some of us who are poor and some of us who are rich. Okay? They are Anu and Sudha. Okay? These are the examples of two extremes. There are also people who belong in many stages in between. Pushcart vendors, street cobblers, women who string flowers, rag pickers, vendors and beggars are some example of poor and vulnerable group in urban areas. The poor people possesses few assets and reside in kutchas, apartments with walls made of baked muds and roof made of brass. Okay? The poorest of them do not even have such dwellings. Guys, this is not something new. ये चीज देखिए that's why I was trying to say कि आप इसे थोड़ा सा रियल लाइफ से कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश करें, इमेजिन करने की कोशिश करें. ठीक है, you will understand it much more easily. थोड़ा intuitive ये टॉपिक के लिए. ठीक है, it is something that आपने देखा है, you have experienced it yourself. ठीक है, तो जो जो गरीब लोग हैं, we know that they don't have proper housing. अभी so धीरे धीरे they are getting proper housing, but there are still many areas in India, okay, जहाँ पे people don't have a proper पक्का घर, okay, पक्का मकान जिसे कहते हैं वो अभी भी उनके पास नहीं है, तो कच्ची मिट्टी का घर बना के रहते हैं, राइट। एंड कुछ तो इतने ज्यादा इतने ज्यादा गरीब होते हैं जो दे डोंट हैव सच फैसिलिटीज कि वो इवन कच्चा घर बना के रहे। आप देखते होंगे सर रोड साइड कहीं पे आपको ऐसा टेंट बना के रहते हुए दिखते हैं। Even if some of them possess land, it is only dry or waste land. Many do not get to have even 2 meals a day. Starvation and hunger are the key features of poorest household. The poor lack basic literacy and skill and hence have very limited economic opportunity. Poor people also face unstable employment. Yes, due to lack of, it all boils down to one thing, that due to lack of money, there is starvation, there is hunger. If they had proper economic resources, they would have been educated. If they were educated, they would have proper economic opportunities for a job. Right? Sir, ऐसी चीजें सर unavailable है, so they have unstable employment. They don't get work easily and मिलता भी है तो पता नहीं सर कब तक टिकेगा. Malnutrition is alarming, ठीक है, because because there is no proper nutritious food available to them. Ill health, disability, or serious illness makes them physically. They borrow from money lenders who charge high interest rate that lends them into chronic indebtedness. They are not able to negotiate their legal wages from employers and are exploited. Okay? Poor people are also not able to negotiate. Okay? They are also not able to negotiate because they don't have the strength. Like, I'm not talking about physical strength, but the people just see people just see that okay, इसे क्या ही देना. But we need to understand that we need to uplift each and every person of our society, and especially those who are who are really in the need. Right? The primary cooking fuel is firewood. Okay, the primary cooking fuel is what? Firewood and cow dung. A large section of poor do not even have access to safe drinking water. These are all what? These are all these are all the situations that a poor faces: starvation, lack of opportunities, unemployment, malnutrition, the low wage rate, you get low wages, and no proper safe drinking. There is evidence of extreme gender inequality in the participation of gainful employment, education, and in decision making within the family. Poor women receive less care on their way to motherhood. Their children are less likely to survive or to be born healthy. Economists identify the poor on the basis of their occupation and ownership of assets. They state that rural poor work mainly as landless agricultural laborers, cultivators with very small land holdings, or landless laborers who are engaged in a variety of non-agricultural jobs and tenant cultivators with small holdings. इकोनॉमिस्ट्स इकोनॉमिस्ट ने क्या किया है सर, इन्हें इन्होंने कैटेगराइज किया है लोगों को, इन्होंने कैटेगराइज किया है लोगों को बेस्ड ऑन देयर ऑक्यूपेशन एंड ओनरशिप। ठीक है, इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट गाइस, वन थिंग, बीइंग पुअर, ठीक है, बीइंग पुअर कैन बी अ, ठीक है, एंड फॉर दैट, ठीक है, we other people who should be really grateful for whatever we have, we should help them and try to uplift, okay? देखिए, आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि अगर कोई आता है पैसे, नहीं नहीं, दैट इज नॉट अपलिफ्टमेंट सर। इफ यू वांट टू अपलिफ्ट एनीवन, आप उन्हें जॉब लगा के दो, ठीक है, कोई एनजीओ होगा, ठीक है, जो उन्हें प्रॉपर फूड दे, ठीक है, एटलीस्ट everyone in the family at least gets food twice, ठीक है, at least get twice in a day, ठीक है? So this is how we can uplift uplift every member of our society, ठीक है? The urban poor are largely the overflow of the rural poor who had migrated to urban areas in search of alternative employment and livelihood. Laborers who do a variety of casual jobs and the self-employed who sell a variety of things on roadside and are engaged in various activities. So economist has divided poor into rural and urban. रूरल, रूरल में और कैटेगरीज है, रूरल में और कैटेगरीज है बेस्ड ऑन योर ऑक्यूपेशन एंड योर लैंड होल्डिंग, whereas urban are those who migrated from rural in search of job employments, ठीक है, और और who who are doing some casual work, okay? So how are people identified as poor? If India is to solve the problem of poverty, it has to find viable and sustainable strategies to address the cause of poverty and design schemes to help the poor out of their situation. देखिए, poor are no no category. These are rich and poor. These are not categories. These are just a phase of life. Being poor, being poor is not a crime. All right, being poor is not a crime. Not helping, not helping them to come out of the zone, that might be. However, for these schemes to be implemented, the government needs to be able to identify who are the poor. For these, there is need to develop a scale to measure poverty, and the factors that make up the criteria for this measurement or mechanism needs to be carefully chosen. In pre-independent India, Dadabhai Navroji was the first to discuss the concept of poverty line. We know Dadabhai Navroji was one of the contributors in the pre-independent area who worked for who worked for coming up with solutions and also contributed in calculation of our national income. He used the menu for a prisoner and used appropriate prevailing prices to arrive at what may be called as jail cost of living. However, only adults stay in jail, whereas in actual society there are children too. He therefore appropriately adjusted the cost of living to arrive at the poverty line. Now, what is a poverty line? So below this, if you fall below this, you are considered as poor. For this adjustment, he assumed that one third population consisted of children, and half of them consumed very little while the other half consumed adult diet. This is how we arrived at the factors of three-fourths. The weighted average of consumption of the three segments gives the average poverty line, which comes out to be three-fourths of the adult jail cost of living. So Dadabhai Navroji, Dadabhai Navroji came up came up came up with the poverty line. He adjusted the jail cost of living. He incorporated, he considered that children do also form a part of economic society, and accordingly, he adjusted, okay, the cost of living and calculated what would be the cost of living below which the people will be considered poor. In post-independent, there have been several attempts to work out mechanism to identify the number of poor in the country. For instance, in 1962, the Planning Commission, now called as NITI Ayog, formed a study too. In 1979, another body called the Task Force on Projection of Minimum Needs and Effective Consumption Demand. Okay. And in 1989 and 2005, expert groups were constituted for the same purpose. So there are many groups, there are many studies, there are many people, okay, who are working, okay, and attempting to identify the number of poor, okay, to identify the number of poor who are in our country. Beside the Planning Commission, many individuals, economists have also attempted to develop such mechanism. For the purpose of defining poverty, we divide people into two categories. देखिए, now, so if we need to define poverty, we need to divide people, the poor and the non-poor. And what separates this poverty line? Okay. However, there are many kinds of poor: the absolutely poor, the very poor, and just. Similarly, there are various kinds of non-poor people: the middle class, the upper class, the rich, the very rich, and the absolutely rich. Think of this as a line, okay, from the very poor to the absolute rich, with the poverty line dividing the poor from the non-poor. Guys, you can consider this that यहाँ पे कुछ लोग हैं and यहाँ पे. This is your whole of the economy. This poverty line is just dividing people into two categories: poor and non. So that was a quick introduction, guys. That was a quick introduction. Just a few reminders. Yeah, all our free content. All our free content is available on the Unacademy app itself. Right? All you have to do is go into the special class section, free live classes or special class. Watch any watch any special class of any subject, but you have to put in this code to unlock. You have to put in this code SAJYT to unlock, right? The SAJYT, देखिए इसके बेनिफिट्स बहुत है। एक तो हमें क्या मिल रहा है, एक तो डिस्काउंट मिलता है यही कोड से अनलॉक होता है फ्री कंटेंट। और यही कोड से बेटा यही कोड से आप क्या दे सकते हो, क्विज। यही कोड यूज करना पड़ेगा टू एंटर एनी क्विज, राइट? चलिए, थैंक यू सो मच गाइस, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ट्यूनिंग इन। आई होप आई होप यू हैव अ ग्रेट डे, राइट? आप लोगों से जल्द मुलाकात होगी। अब तो साथ ही साथ आप लोगों ने क्या करना है, साथ ही साथ आप लोगों ने सेल्फ स्टडीज करनी है। दीज इंडियन इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट जो सेक्शन है हमारा इकोनॉमिक्स का, दिस इज वेरी इंट्यूटिव, थ्योरेटिकल है बट इट इज इंट्यूटिव। आपको लॉजिक्स ढूंढने में ज्यादा तकलीफ नहीं होगी इसमें, राइट? दीज आर वेरी इंट्यूटिव टॉपिक्स, आराम से आप समझ सकते हैं क्या बोलना चाहते हैं, ठीक है? तो आई वुड सजेस्ट साथ ही साथ सेल्फ स्टडीज भी कैरी करें, ठीक है? जितना हो सके उतने क्विज अटेंड करें, तो दैट एक ग्रास्प आए, ठीक है? एक ग्रास्प आए चीज़ों पे, राइट? चलिए, थैंक यू सो मच गाइस, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ट्यूनिंग इन। आप लोगों से जल्द मुलाकात होगी कल, राइट? टिल देन, टेक केयर गाइस।